What they feels when you stop looking for them, make them miss you. Stoicism. All right, folks, let's start with this. If you want to know who's been taking you for granted, just disappear for a bit. It's like turning on the lights and watching the roaches scatter. Don't worry, I'm not saying your ex is a roach. Well, unless the shoe fits, but you get my point. My friends, today we're talking about something that's equal parts freeing, hilarious, and yes, secretly a little bit evil in the best possible way. We're exploring what happens when you stop chasing someone, stop checking up on them, and stop making them the center of your mental universe. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through your phone, tempted to send that just checking in text? And then, suddenly, your inner voice says, nah, let's see what happens if I just don't. That's where the magic starts. This isn't about ghosting like a shady Wi-Fi connection. No, my friends, this is about reclaiming your personal spotlight, the one you've been sharing with someone who maybe didn't even deserve a seat in the audience. I like to think of it like baking bread. If you open the oven every 2 minutes to check, you ruin it. Same thing here. Constantly checking up on someone doesn't give them space to rise. But when you step back, let them sit in the quiet, that's when they start noticing the empty space you used to fill. And here's the kicker, they'll miss it. Oh yes, they will. Because humans are funny creatures. We tend to value things more after they're not easily in reach. Now, before you start thinking this is just some manipulative, make them jealous trick, let me be clear. It's not about mind games. It's about putting your energy back where it belongs, in yourself. As the great Stoic philosophers would tell you, control what's in your control and let the rest go. Which in our case means focusing on your own growth, your own hobbies, your own people, and letting your absence be the quiet reminder of what they've lost. Think of it like this. If you've been the local coffee shop they visited every morning, and one day, poof, you're closed for renovations, they'll notice. They'll drive by and think, that place was always there for me. And that thought, oh, that thought is where the missing begins. When you step back, you're not shrinking away, you're leveling up. You're becoming someone so centered, so full of life, that your worth practically glows in the dark. People can feel that energy shift. It's like you've been the background music in their life, and now that the track has stopped, they suddenly realize how much it set the mood. So here's the challenge, my friends. Before we even dive into the good stuff, I want you to make a little public promise. Drop a comment that says, "My absence will speak for me." Say it like you mean it. Not as a sad farewell, but as a bold announcement that you know your value and you're done handing out VIP passes to people who don't appreciate the show. This is your moment to shine without even being in the room, to make them feel your absence not as a petty move, but as the natural consequence of undervaluing someone incredible. And if you do it right, they won't just miss you. They'll replay every conversation, every memory, and wonder how they let you slip away. All right, Stoic friends, let's grab this strategy by the horns and ride it all the way to Self-Respect City. Buckle up, because by the time we're done, you won't just be stepping back, you'll be stepping way up. And trust me, they'll feel it. All right, my friends, before we dive into the 10 points, let's have a little fun with a thought experiment that'll set the stage for everything that follows. It's not just important, it's the heart of today's lesson. Picture this. You're the sun in someone's life. You bring the warmth that melts their bad moods, the light that makes their world feel safe and bright, the energy that keeps their days moving. You're basically their personal solar panel. But now imagine, poof, the sun goes missing. Suddenly, their world feels colder. The mornings don't hit the same. There's a chill in the air they can't quite explain. And that warmth they once thought would always be there. It's now a distant memory, fading a little more each day. Now here's the million-dollar question. Do they shrug it off and buy a sweater, or do they start craving that heat like nothing else? My bet. They start remembering exactly what they lost and wishing they'd paid more attention before it was gone. Now, bring it back to real life. Think about someone you used to talk to all the time, a friend, a partner, maybe even that coworker who somehow became your lunch buddy. You texted, you called, you shared little guess what just happened moments. And then silence. Not because of a big fight, not because of drama, but simply because you decided to focus on you. You pulled your energy back. You stopped being their default go-to. How do you think that would feel on their end? At first, maybe they'd think, that's weird. Then a few days later, did I do something? And eventually, wait, where are they? You see, people notice absence differently than they notice presence. Presence is comfortable. It fades into the background like elevator music. But absence, that's the pause in the song. That's when people finally hear the silence. Now I can already hear someone saying, but hold on, if I pull away, won't they just forget about me? It's a fair question. But here's the thing. This isn't about vanishing like a magician. You're not pulling a full Houdini and locking yourself in a box at the bottom of the ocean. You're creating just enough space for them to feel the shift. Think of it like seasoning a dish. You don't dump out all the salt. You just step away from the shaker for a bit so they can actually taste what's missing. The truth is, stepping back is one of the most powerful moves you can make. You're giving them a chance to experience life without you in it every single moment. You're letting them see the contrast. And contrast is what makes people appreciate what they have, or in this case, had. It's like staring at a beautiful painting. When you're too close, you only see the brushstrokes. But when you step back, suddenly the full masterpiece comes into view. That's what your absence does. It zooms them out. It makes them see the whole picture of what you brought into their life. We're not talking about playing games here. We're talking about shifting the energy, reclaiming your power, and letting them sit in the quiet long enough to realize that maybe, just maybe, they took something extraordinary for granted. Think about the last time you lost something valuable, maybe a piece of jewelry, or that one hoodie you loved more than you should admit. Remember the way it bugged you? How you replayed the last time you saw it? How you kicked yourself for not appreciating it more? That's exactly the kind of slow burn regret that starts building in someone when you stop showing up in their daily life. The difference is, you get to decide whether you ever step back in. That's power, my friends, real power. So before we dive into the 10 points that explain exactly what they feel when you stop looking for them, I want you to think about the times you felt that way about someone else. What was the moment you realized you missed them? What emotions did you go through? Keep those memories fresh, because they're the key to understanding exactly what happens on the other side when you decide it's time to step back. All right, folks, let's kick this off with one of my favorite silly little truths. Sometimes silence is golden, and sometimes it's just really, really suspicious. Seriously, my friends, you know that feeling when the group chat suddenly goes quiet and you're thinking, okay, who's plotting something? Well, that's exactly the kind of jolt we're talking about here, except this time, you're the one causing it. Number 1, the shock of silence. Picture this. You've been the human equivalent of morning coffee for someone. Reliable, comforting, always there to give them their daily dose of warmth, energy, and maybe a little sass on the side. You're the one who sends the "good morning, hope you have a great day" text or shoots over a random meme just to make them laugh. You've been their emotional background music, always playing, always steady. And then one day, the music stops. You don't text first. You don't ask, "Hey, what's up?" You don't even send that classic "just checking in" message. You let the air sit still, and oh boy, they feel it. It's like walking into a party, and suddenly the DJ pulls the plug. One minute you're grooving, the next minute it's just the sound of awkward throat clears and someone crunching potato chips in the corner. Now here's the funny thing. This silence isn't just about your missing texts or the empty space in their notifications. It's deeper. It's that strange shift in the air when something that felt like a constant suddenly isn't there anymore. And the human brain? Oh, it hates that. It wants to know why the pattern broke. At first, they might brush it off. Guess they're busy. But give it a day or two, and they're side-eyeing their phone like it owes them money. Then comes the self-questioning. Wait, did I do something? Did they get upset? Are they mad? Are they okay? Or worse, are they having more fun without me? That's when your absence starts echoing. It's no longer quiet. It's loud in a way they can't ignore. It's the kind of silence that makes them replay old conversations, scroll through your socials, and maybe even type out a message before backspacing it because, well, pride. You see, folks, your presence might have been so woven into their daily rhythm that they didn't even notice it consciously until it stopped. It's like living next to a train track. You stop hearing the trains after a while, but the second they stop running, you notice the stillness, and it's unsettling. That's the shock we're talking about here. The something's missing itch they can't scratch. The kind of absence that makes them look around and think, wow, things feel different, and not in a good way. The poet Rumi once said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." But in your case, my friends, the quieter you become, the more they start to hear just how much space you actually took up in their life. And that realization, it's not comfortable for them. They start to realize they'd been walking through life with this steady background melody, you, and now they're stuck with nothing but static. That's when it hits. They weren't just getting random check-ins, they were getting a piece of you, your energy, your time, your care. And that's not easily replaced. So when you pull back and create that silence, you're not just disappearing, you're making room for them to truly feel what life is like without you. And trust me, my friends, once they feel it, they'll never hear silence the same way again. All right, folks, let's roll right into number 2, realization of your value. And oh boy, this is where it gets juicy. You know that old saying, you never know what you have until it's gone? Yeah, it's been overused, printed on coffee mugs, and stitched into throw pillows. But it's true. People don't usually appreciate the magic while it's still in the room. They're too busy enjoying it like free refills at a diner, assuming it'll always be there. But when you stop showing up, when you stop pouring your energy into them like you always did, that's when the slow burn begins, and the realization creeps in. At first, after the shock of your silence, they might think, okay, life goes on. But then the days stretch out a little longer. The mornings feel quieter. The evenings feel a bit emptier. They might not even know exactly what's missing until that tiny voice in their head whispers, it's them. You miss them. And once that thought slips in, it's game over. It's not just the absence of texts or calls. It's the absence of you, your energy, your humor, the way you could lift their mood with one random story, the way you actually listened, not just waited for your turn to speak. You see, folks, your presence was like that one secret ingredient in Grandma's cooking. They might not have been able to put their finger on it, but take it away, and suddenly the flavor's gone. Think about it like this. Imagine a puzzle that's been sitting half-finished on a coffee table. Every time they look at it, something feels off, but they can't quite figure out why, until they realize there's a piece missing. And guess what? That missing piece is you. Here's the funny and slightly tragic truth about human nature. We get comfortable. We start thinking that the things that make our life richer will just stay. We tell ourselves little lies like, they'll always be there, they're just that kind of person. But when you step back, when you stop feeding their comfort with your constant presence, you quietly break that lie in half. And let's be real, my friends, this isn't always easy for them to admit, even to themselves. It can sting to realize you underestimated someone's worth. So at first, they might try to fill the gap. They'll talk to other people, throw themselves into distractions, maybe even convince themselves they're better off. But deep down, they'll start bumping into reminders of you everywhere, in conversations, in inside jokes they can't share anymore, in problems they wish they could ask your advice on. It's like ordering your favorite burger for years, barely thinking about it, and then one day you try something else. And it's just not the same. Sure, it's food, but it doesn't hit the spot. And you sit there thinking, dang, I didn't realize how much I loved the original until it wasn't on my plate. Now here's where you rise, my friends, because this realization isn't about you begging for them to notice your worth. It's about them having to. You're showing that your presence was a gift, not a guarantee. You're proving that your value isn't in chasing them. It's in knowing you can step back and still shine just as brightly, maybe even brighter. Albert Einstein once said, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." And you've been of value. You've been the person who brought laughter on bad days, who made challenges feel lighter, who made the ordinary a little more extraordinary. And in stepping back, you give them the rare gift of perspective, the chance to see just how much you mattered all along. Now, is this process comfortable for them? Nope, and that's the point. Growth never comes from comfort, and neither does appreciation. Sometimes the only way for someone to truly see your worth is for them to feel the space you once filled. And here's your affirmation for today, my friends. I am not replaceable. My presence is a gift. Say it, write it, own it. And if you really want to lock it in, drop it in the comments right now. Not just to tell me, but to tell yourself and the world around you that you believe it. Because, trust me, the story isn't over yet. If you think this realization shakes them up, wait until we get into the next stage. Let's just say, the plot thickens. All right, my friends, welcome to number 3, the void of your presence. And oh, this is where things start to hit them right in the feels. By now, they've already felt the shock of your silence and started to realize your value. But here's where it gets deeper. This isn't just about missing your good morning texts or those late-night calls. No, this is about the space you use to fill in their life, the warmth, the stability, the emotional cushion that made their world a little softer. Think of it like this. You've been the fireplace in their home. Even if they weren't sitting in front of it every night, they liked knowing it was there. That gentle crackle, that steady warmth, that light in the background. And now, the fire's out. The room feels colder. The shadows are longer. They're starting to notice just how much they relied on that comfort. They go through their usual routine, but it's like the air feels heavier. The joke they wanted to send you sits unsent in their head because who's going to get it the way you do? That story they were dying to tell. It loses its spark when they realize you're not there to listen. It's not just the actions you took that mattered, it was you, your energy, your way of being, the sense of connection that made even ordinary moments feel a little more alive. Here's the kicker. They'll probably try to patch the hole you left. Maybe they'll call other friends, dive into hobbies, work late, or scroll endlessly just to stay distracted. But nothing fits quite right. You were like a perfectly shaped puzzle piece, and now there's this awkward gap that nothing else can fill. This void is more than uncomfortable. It's confronting. It's a constant daily reminder that something, someone, is missing. And it's not just anyone. It's you. Your presence didn't just fill space, it added meaning. Like Voltaire said, the art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. you were part of that happiness, woven into their everyday life. So, as they sit in that emptiness, your absence speaks for you. It whispers, you had something good, and now it's gone. And my friends, that's a voice they can't easily silence. All right, folks, welcome to number 4, the rise of curiosity. And this, my friends, is where the game gets interesting. They've already been through the shock of your silence. They've started to feel the value you brought, and they've been sitting in that uncomfortable void you left behind. But now their brain starts poking at them with questions they didn't care to ask before. It usually starts small. Maybe they're scrolling through their phone, minding their own business, and suddenly it hits them. Wait, I haven't heard from them in days, maybe even weeks. That tiny thought snowballs fast. What are you doing? Are you okay? Are you moving on without them? Are you out there having the time of your life? That curiosity grows because when you were always around, always available, they didn't have to wonder. They knew your schedule, your mood, what you were binge-watching. You were basically an open book. But now, you've become a mystery novel, and they skipped a few chapters. And you know what happens when people don't know the ending? They need to find out. Suddenly, they're clicking on your profile more often than they'd like to admit. They're scrolling back through old messages, maybe even stalking your tagged photos. Every little thing you post becomes a clue in their personal investigation. And here's the delicious irony. The less you show, the more they want to know. It's like watching a TV show that ended on a cliffhanger. You could have sworn you weren't that invested, but now you're lying awake wondering what happens next. That uncertainty, that delicious unknown, is magnetic. And here's the kicker. Aristotle once said, "The more you know, the more you realize you don't know." That's exactly what's happening to them. They're realizing they knew the version of you that existed when you were constantly in their orbit, but they don't know this new you, the you who stepped back, the you who's out there growing, changing, leveling up without needing their attention. And that, my friends, is when curiosity becomes a pull they can't resist. Because now you're not just the person they used to know, you're someone intriguing, evolving, and worth chasing. And whether they admit it or not, that's exactly what they're starting to do. All right, folks, here we are. Number 5, the growth of longing. And let me tell you, this is where the quiet ache starts turning into a full-blown soundtrack in their head. At first, after curiosity kicks in, it's just little thoughts here and there. But longing? Oh, that's a whole different beast. This isn't just them thinking it'd be nice to hear from them again. No, my friends, this is that deep, restless pull that starts to creep in when they least expect it. The kind that makes them pause mid-sip of coffee because a random memory hits them out of nowhere. They could be walking through the grocery store and pass by your favorite snack. Boom, there you are, right in their mind. A certain song plays on the radio, and suddenly they're not in their car anymore. They're back in that moment with you. Even something as small as hearing a phrase you used to say can hit like a punch to the gut. And here's the thing, these reminders don't fade with time. They pile up one after another until the missing becomes impossible to ignore. Longing is sneaky like that. It doesn't storm in the front door, it seeps in through the cracks. It hides in the quiet spaces where you used to be, the late-night conversations, the inside jokes, the reassuring feeling of just knowing you were there. Every day without you stretches the distance, but instead of forgetting, they start to feel the weight of it more. It's like having a thirst that plain water won't quench. They don't just miss someone, they miss you, your laugh, your way of listening without judgment, your ability to make even an ordinary Tuesday feel special. And as Marcel Proust once said, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Well, longing has given them new eyes, and now they're seeing you with a clarity they didn't have before. They're replaying moments, appreciating details they once overlooked, realizing that what they had with you wasn't just rare, it was irreplaceable. And the more that longing grows, the harder it is for them to push it aside. This isn't just emotion anymore, it's momentum. And whether they like it or not, that pull is only getting stronger. All right, folks, time for number 6, the sting of regret. And trust me, this one cuts deeper than the rest. By now, they've felt the shock of your silence, realized your value, sat in the void you left, gotten curious, and started longing for you. But here's where the knife twists: regret. And unlike curiosity, which is nosy, or longing, which is emotional, regret has teeth. It bites, and it bites hard. Picture them sitting alone one evening, maybe staring at their phone, maybe just lost in thought. Suddenly, they remember that time you went out of your way to help them when no one else would, or that moment you sacrificed something for their comfort, or the countless times you checked in just because you cared. Back then, maybe they shrugged it off. Maybe they thought, that's just how they are. But now they see it differently. And it stings. That's the thing about regret. It loves to play reruns of the past, only this time in high definition. They replay moments with fresh eyes and realize just how much they missed the point back then. And those if-only thoughts start flooding in. If only I had shown up for them more. If only I had matched their effort. If only I had appreciated them when I had the chance. But here's the cruel part. Regret knows the past can't be changed. The Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard called it a sharp-edged sword for a reason. Once it cuts, you can't unfeel it. They can't go back and undo the careless words, the ignored texts, the times they took you for granted. That helplessness only makes the sting sharper. Now, some people will sit in regret and do nothing. Others? They'll feel the urge to act. They might reach out, apologize, try to patch things up before it's too late. Because at this stage, your absence isn't just a quiet space. It's a mirror reflecting the consequences of undervaluing something rare. And here's where you stand tall, my friends. This is living proof that your worth doesn't diminish when someone fails to see it. In fact, sometimes it takes your absence for them to finally understand just how valuable you were. And that's not your loss. That's their lifelong lesson. All right, folks, let's dig into number 7, the intrigue of mystery, because this is where things start to feel like a Netflix drama they can't stop binge-watching. When you were always available, they thought they had you figured out. They knew your habits, your routines, even the way you texted LOL when you weren't actually laughing. You were predictable, accessible, familiar, and while that felt comfortable at the time, it also meant there wasn't much left for them to wonder about. But now the script has flipped. With your absence, the daily updates have stopped. They don't know your plans, your thoughts, or who you're spending time with. They can't guess what you're doing on a Friday night, or whether you're home scrolling or out laughing with new people. You've gone from being an open book to a locked journal, and human nature hates a mystery it can't solve. This isn't just curiosity anymore. Curiosity is wondering what's going on in the moment. Mystery, that's deeper. Mystery changes the way they see you. It's no longer, what are they doing right now, but who are they becoming without me? And that question has a way of getting under someone's skin. Think about it like your favorite TV show. When the main character suddenly starts acting out of character, trying new things, meeting new people, making bold moves, you lean in. You watch more closely. You want answers. That's exactly what's happening here. They may start asking themselves things they never did before. What new habits have they picked up? Are they happier now? Who's making them laugh like that? Do they even think about me anymore? And because they no longer have constant access to you, every unanswered question only feeds the fire. They might check your social media a little too often, searching for clues. They might ask mutual friends about you, pretending it's casual. But deep down, it's not casual. It's a low-key obsession. Oscar Wilde once said, "The truth is rarely pure and never simple, and your absence proves it. You're no longer the neatly defined version of yourself they thought they knew. You're evolving, you're unpredictable. You're living chapters they're not part of, and that fact alone makes you infinitely more intriguing." The beauty of mystery is that it flips the dynamic. You're not chasing them, explaining yourself, or giving updates. They're the ones leaning forward, trying to decode you. And that shift is powerful, because the more they wonder, the more they realize they're no longer holding the same place in your story. And they want it back. And here's the kicker, my friends. You're not doing any of this to manipulate. You're simply living your life, growing, changing, and letting them notice. The mystery isn't something you've crafted on purpose. It's the natural result of you reclaiming your space, your time, and your focus. So if you're feeling that urge to overshare, resist it. Let the silence do the talking. Let the questions stay unanswered. Because nothing pulls someone back in quite like the feeling that there's more to discover, and that discovery is just out of reach. All right, folks, here we are at number 8, the power of reflection. And this is where the spotlight flips back onto them in a way they didn't expect. By now, they've been through the shock, the curiosity, the longing, the regret, and even the mystery of who you've become. But eventually, all those emotions slow down just enough to make room for something deeper, reflection. And this isn't just a random passing thought while they're brushing their teeth. No, this is a sit with yourself, stare at the ceiling kind of reflection. Your absence has created the perfect environment for it. See, when you were around, they could distract themselves with your presence. They could avoid thinking too deeply about their own behavior because you were there to smooth things over, to keep the rhythm going. But now, the silence leaves them alone with their own thoughts. And thoughts have a funny way of dragging up the truth. They start replaying old conversations, the good ones and the ones they wish had gone differently. They remember times you went above and beyond, moments you were patient, supportive, or forgiving. And they also remember when they didn't meet you halfway. Those "I'll make it up to them later" moments now feel like lost chances. And then comes the harder part. They start seeing patterns. Maybe it's not just with you. Maybe they've been this way in other relationships too. Too focused on themselves, too quick to assume someone will always be there, too distracted to notice how much value someone was adding to their life until that person stepped away. This realization hits differently because it's not just about missing you, it's about seeing what they missed out on building with you. That what could have been starts to feel heavy, especially when they realize the opportunity is no longer sitting right in front of them. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Well, your absence has forced them to examine not just their life, but their role in your shared story. And now they see it with fresh eyes, the way you changed the atmosphere, the way you made things better, the way your absence has left a lasting shift in how they view relationships entirely. And whether they admit it or not, that reflection changes them. It has to. All right, folks, here's number 9, the magnetism of self-sufficiency. And this is where the plot twist really kicks in. Up until now, they've been missing you, reflecting on you, and maybe even regretting the way they treated you. But here's the curveball. They start to see you differently. You're not the always available, drop everything for them person anymore. You're not sitting around in emotional limbo, waiting for them to come back. Nope, you've leveled up. Instead of fading, you're thriving. You're chasing your passions, trying new things, building better habits, and living your life fully, on your terms. You've stepped into this version of yourself that's strong, confident, and unapologetically independent. And that, my friends, is magnetic. See, they might have thought that without them you'd stumble, that you'd be texting late at night, saying how much you miss them, that you'd be stuck in a holding pattern until they decided to return. But what they're realizing now maybe through friends, maybe through social media, or maybe just from your vibe when they see you, is that you're good, better than good, you're self-sufficient. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Self-reliance is the height of man," and you're embodying that truth. Self-sufficiency says you don't need anyone to complete you, you're already whole. It sends a message that's both powerful and rare. I'm here because I choose to be, not because I can't be without you. Here's where the emotions get tricky for them. On one hand, they might kick themselves for not appreciating this strength earlier. On the other, they're drawn to it in a way they didn't expect. Because let's be honest, independence is attractive. Someone who can stand on their own, who's building a life they love, who doesn't need constant reassurance. That's magnetic energy. And the best part? You're not doing any of this to impress them. You're not trying to prove a point. You're simply living, investing in yourself, and letting your actions speak louder than any words could. In this stage, your absence doesn't just speak for you. It shows them. It shows them that you're not just surviving without them. You're flourishing. And that sight alone might be the thing that makes them rethink everything they thought they knew about you. All right, folks, here we are. Number 10. The desire for reconnection, the final stage, and it hits like a tidal wave. By now, they've been through every step of the emotional gauntlet. They've felt the shock of your silence, realized your value, sat in the void you left, been pulled in by curiosity, wrestled with longing, cut deep by regret, haunted by the mystery of who you've become, forced into reflection, and finally magnetized by your self-sufficiency. All of that builds to this point, a crossroads where the urge to reconnect isn't just a thought, it's a pull they can't shake. They've replayed the memories over and over. They've weighed what they had with you against everything that's come since. The people they've met, the temporary distractions, the fun they thought would keep them from missing you, but none of it has even come close. The space you left isn't just empty, it's irreplaceable. And here's the thing. This isn't about chasing nostalgia for the good old days. No, this is about realizing that what they had with you was different, one of a kind. The way you made them feel safe, the stability you brought, the way you could light up a day just by being in it. Those things don't come around twice. But now, it's not just the old you they want back. It's the new you, the you who's grown stronger, sharper, more confident, the you who doesn't wait around, who commands respect without asking for it. That transformation is intoxicating because now they're not just imagining picking up where you left off, they're imagining something entirely new. F. Scott Fitzgerald said, "There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice." And they finally get it. If they were lucky enough to have a second chance with you, it wouldn't be a repeat. It would be richer, more intentional, and built on the lessons the distance has forced both of you to learn. Your absence has been their silent teacher. It's shown them not only the weight of what they lost, but the possibility of what they could build if they approached you differently. And as that realization digs in, resisting the urge to reach out becomes almost impossible. They're standing at the edge of action now, my friends, debating if they should bridge the gap and see if your story still has another chapter. And something tells me they won't be able to hold back much longer. And that, my friends, wraps it all up. We've walked through every stage they experience when you stop looking for them, from shock to longing to the urge to reconnect. The truth is, your silence can speak louder than any words, and your growth can be the most powerful answer of all. If this resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe for more insights like this, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment below with "My presence is my power" to show the world you mean it.